Today I'm just going to be talking about two things that I deem to be very important, especially today. The first thing is the question of unconscious bias. To me, such thing doesn't exist. A bias is a bias. Unconsciously biased is just a way to forgive the person who's being unconscious or whiten the sin of that person. Clearly in America, when people in academia, academic venues or in other highly specific venues, people talk about unconscious bias. Literally what they mean is racism. And especially if it pertains to the racial struggle in America. What is a bias? What is unconscious? Right. We can do a philosophical discussion, or maybe we can agree or disagree that when you say the act of Donald Trump is an act of unconscious bias, clearly is a little white lie. When you say, or maybe when you make reference to a politician, it's a question of certain mishap, quote unquote, or politically incorrect statement, saying that, oh yeah, what we say was clearly unacceptable, but we understand it's an unconscious bias. So, unconscious bias is conscious racism. That's what it is. Because you can do it once, but you can't be doing it on a continuous basis and you're still telling us it's unconscious. The other issue that I'd like to talk about is the very pertinent and sometimes vexing issue with regards to African American patriotism. White America never will fully accept African Americans' loyalty to the nation, no matter what they do, no matter what they have accomplished in the past. And the reason being, would you understand, is because of historical injustices. Let's think of it. Let's say, for example, you have a friend or you have a neighbor, okay, to whom you have done so many wrongs, and instead of expecting some sort of a revenge from that neighbor, what you see is love. So you may never believe it. This has been the unspoken communication between black and white since the inception of this country. Blacks were slaves, and there isn't anything that could be worse than enslave an individual. Okay, and 200 years of slavery plus 150 plus years of segregation, Jim Crow, outright humiliation. So society has tended to accept the fact that if you're black in America, you are what we call an unspoken second citizen. So how do we break this vicious circle of misunderstanding, of mistreatment, so to speak? I don't see it myself, quite frankly, because we've been talking about having a conversation, and I don't believe in that, because over the years, black and white do agree in many things. In fact, many blacks marry white, many whites marry blacks. But the question is, when we talk about institutional racism or systemic racism, it is a kind of racism that has been embedded in the structure of society. If we want to do away with all these things that's been going on with minorities and African Americans, we need to tackle the laws that make it possible for police officers to kill someone and still get away with it. That makes it possible for, if you're a black person, you can't compete as well as your white colleagues at the workplace. If you're a black person, you're prone to receive the lowest of health care, which is something that is quite manifested and among the victims of the coronavirus. So what I'm telling you, these two things, to me, they are core component of the collective debate that's going on right now. This is long overdue, and I'm just going to close this. Quote Victor Hugo, "There is no greater power in the world than an idea whose time has come." the time now, ever, if we truly want to bring social justice for black men.